Most readers of the Bible in our time do not know, for instance, that a romp with a prostitute will cost you a lamb. A detail we of the non-ancient sheep herding community will be given in just a moment. This lecture discusses sexual relationships and family customs in Genesis that can be challenging for modern audiences. Genesis pauses the Joseph story here to show what becomes of Judah while Joseph is in Egypt. Genesis 38 even seems like an abrupt interruption of the Joseph story to tell the story of his bad brother, Judah, or bad for now. And there is much in this story that is underexplained. Genesis and the Bible as a whole often seem to assume readers, ancient readers, know where places are and how a number of cultural things work in the world of Bronze and Iron Age shepherds. Most readers of the Bible in our time do not know, for instance, that a romp with a prostitute will cost you a lamb. A detail we of the non-ancient sheep herding community will be given in just a moment. While it is a break with the Joseph narrative, the story of Judah is an important segment because of whom the descendants of Judah become in the Old Testament. It is also important because Judah is the son who suggested that Joseph be sold into slavery. Bad business this, and a comeuppance seems in order. So maybe this chapter is necessary, where it is put, because we will see that Judah goes into exile, suffers, and has to admit that he was wrong at some point about a judgment he makes. Sons of the son of Judah will, by strange means, become the beginnings of the tribe of Judah, and eventually the kingdom of Judah in the Bible. Jewish people are named after this lineage, and named after what becomes the land of Judah. So yes, this is all very important. For more videos on Genesis, please subscribe to this channel. And if you'd like the complete course, the Udemy link is in the description below. And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren. This means he leaves the family. Maybe he was estranged or restless or feeling guilty. We're not told. But this leaving cannot be a happy thing. Judah marries a Canaanite woman and has 3 sons, Er, Onan, and Shelah. We know from the example of Esau in particular that it was frowned upon to marry outside the line of the covenant. But this standard seems to be breaking down. Judah finds a wife named Tamar for his eldest son, Er. But Er is wicked and dies. Or, to put it as the Bible puts it, Er was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him, killed him. No further explanation is given. To this point, Judah has done 2 very bad things. He was part of the ransacking of Shechem, and he also abused his brother and sold him into slavery. I'll say again. But these things were not wicked enough for God to slay him. So what on earth did Er, his son, do? We should know, but we never will, I don't think. According to custom, the next son, Onan, is expected to father a child for his brother through Tamar, now Er's widow. This practice, younger brother fathering a child for an older deceased brother through that older deceased brother's widow, this later becomes formalized in Israelite law. The following 2 verses in the Bible are not often quoted, but they strike me as something to think about. They show how close these people were to the realities of animal husbandry. The second son, Onan, knew that the seed should not be his. Now, how he knows this or thinks this, we're not told. And it came to pass, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled it, his seed, on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord. Wherefore he slew him also. The Lord slew him also. So God kills him for that. So Onan refuses to sire a child. My goodness, the writing leaves out major plot points here, but then sticks in such a graphic detail. Onan, it seems, was okay with the sex, but held back with his quote-unquote seed, which he wasted by spilling it on the ground. And I guess that's a terrible thing to do. So he does not do what he was supposed to do, and so God kills him. Yes, this gives us something to think about, but let's move on. The loss of two sons in such quick succession must have been hard on Judah, but the same narrative that gives us seed spilling does not make any mention of Judah's reaction to this seemingly terrible string of events. Maybe we are to assume that Judah did not care much for these sons. Judah then promises his youngest son, Shelah, to Tamar. When Shelah grows up, Shelah is still a child. Now, Judah never fulfills that promise. We're not told why. This leaves Tamar widowed and abandoned. Maybe Judah is just being mean again. Later, Judah's wife dies. He then travels to Timnah for sheep shearing. Tamar hears of Judah's trip, disguises herself as a prostitute, however you do that, and waits by the roadside. Judah approaches and does not recognize her. He buys sex from her, obviously her plan, and the plan was a good one because the sheep shearing apparently got Judah in the mood. The sex was on credit, and he promises to send her a kid, meaning a lamb, for payment. So now we know that in this ancient biblical world, you can use livestock to pay for sex. So Tamar, still pretending to be a prostitute, wants security for this payment. So Judah gives her his signet, cord, and staff as a pledge of payment, which is actually not pretty honorable, I guess, from the guy. He could have just left her there. A signet in this case would probably be an official personal stamp or seal. A cord is a bracelet, presumably of some value, and every shepherd needs a staff. So it's certain that he'll want these things back. And after he returns home, he sends a man to pay the harlot for the sex. But the man cannot find any such harlot. Predictably, Tamar becomes pregnant. Judah, back to being a nasty sort and not aware the child is his, condemns her to death for immorality. I'll repeat, Judah, seller of brother and city sacker, condemns someone else for immorality. But she sends him his own signet and staff, and I guess the cord too, revealing that he is the father. And this also reveals that Judah slept with his son's widow. Judah confesses, "She's more righteous than I," acknowledging his failure to give her his third son. All right, so remember, Shelah was not given to Tamar. Tamar gives birth to twin sons, Perez and Zerah. Perez, much later after Genesis, will be named as an ancestor of King David, and in Christian tradition, an ancestor of Jesus. Zerah's lineage will also become legitimate, but a lesser line within the tribe of Judah. So Genesis 38 exposes Judah again as a bad man, but his acknowledgement of Tamar's righteousness seems something like an act of repentance. Why Tamar's deception is deemed righteous is hard to figure. Within the moral logic of Genesis, however, Tamar does preserve the family line when Judah fails. Judah is duped deceived, and he had it coming. And though his two sons by Tamar are clearly illegitimate and the result of what could be viewed as reckless dilly-dallying, they are deemed legitimate by some standard that Genesis has failed to make clear to us. I'll avoid attempting a long explanation of why Genesis has no problem here elevating a son born out of wedlock to a widowed daughter-in-law posing as a prostitute, why it has no problem elevating that son to the status of patriarch. This is something to think about. Their rules were different, and they seem to change their rules when necessary. Judah will reappear later as a changed man, and what he experiences in this story seems to contribute to his turnaround. Now, let's return to Joseph and the wondrous things that happened to him in Egypt in our next lecture. For more videos on Genesis, please subscribe to this channel. And if you'd like the complete course, the Udemy link is in the description below.